Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Holy Trinity Church. Thank you for joining us for worship on this 8th Sunday of the Pentecost season. This is an exciting day. It's the first Sunday that we've gathered for our 11 o'clock Eucharist since the Ides of March in 2020. We know that the pandemic is not behind us yet. But due to good local rates of vaccination, we've been meeting at 8:30 since Palm Sunday. And along the way, we've worked a few things out. We've been watching local statistics. We've been changing our procedures as we go in response. Some things are different from what we used to do. This is a good time to review our current practice. We're wearing masks in church, except when speaking or chanting. This provides some measure of protection for those who are not able to vaccinate and for those with compromised immune response, and in solidarity with everyone and anyone who must still wear a mask. We recently brought our seating back into the nave. We're practicing a form of social distancing, social podding. Families and households share a pew. Other social groups share pews. Choir pod is for people who are fully vaccinated, for instance. And we ask you to collect a prayer book and bulletin as you enter and return them afterward or recycle into the bin in the narthex. That helps us to keep the church clean. Recently, we began offering communion in both kinds, the body and the blood. The Book of Common Prayer and the Common Cup are both powerful symbols of our life together. We abstained from the cup until vaccination made it possible to resume. You too may share by sipping or by intinction. As always, communion in one kind is perfectly effective. Pass if you're not comfortable partaking for any reason. We are refraining from physical contact outside of social pods, and we're refraining from congregational singing as well. I hope that we will be able to work with the choir from cars to adopt some form of shared singing at church soon. Today, after the service, we'll enjoy coffee hour in person for the first time in 16 months. This will be served under the tent outside. We are taking what precautions we may, and even a few more than strictly necessary, to be as safe as possible. In the light of a serious outbreak in Sitka, with increasing numbers of cases all over the nation, and the expected arrival of large ships to Juneau beginning next week, we will continue to be responsive to changing conditions. Tomorrow will arrive with its own challenges, and today we rejoice. Hallelujah, give thanks to the Lord. The love of the dear one is forever. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. The gospel truth is the way of Christ is often difficult. The way of love and compassion is the companion of suffering. The gospel does not sugarcoat the truth, and frequently it reminds us of hardship and difficulty in life. So today, the lectionary passage has an interesting feature. There's a gap of 19 verses between the parts of the reading. We will read what takes place in that gap next week. Only we'll be reading it from the Gospel of John. That's also what was done last week. The lectionary substituted the narrative in Mark with the corresponding one from John. This helps to explain how we can read the four Gospels in 3 years. The two parts of Mark we read today had a common theme, which we will get into in a minute. First, though, I'll remind you of references that will contribute to understanding the context of the readings. In the first case, Mark 6:30-34 harks back to the first part of chapter 6. On the 4th of July, we read this, how Jesus sent the disciples out on their first missions to heal and to teach. Now they've returned, and the apostles gathered around Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. Now, in the second case, the people came and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed. Back on the 27th of June, we read in chapter 5 of a woman who touched the hem of Jesus' robe as he walked through a crowd. She was cured of an affliction she'd suffered for 12 years. Word of that event got around, traveling from the Jewish town of Capernaum to the Greek towns at the far end of the lake. So today we read, when they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret and moored the boat. And when they got out of the boat, people at once recognized him. Do you remember the place Jesus met a man called Legion? The people asked Jesus to leave because the demons Jesus cast from Legion went into a herd of pigs that ran down the hill and drowned themselves. That made Jesus pretty unpopular with those folks. And Legion was as unpopular then as Jesus due to his wild past. So he asked Jesus if he could join the road crew, but Jesus would not let him. Instead, Jesus said, "Go home and tell everyone what has been done for you." Although Jesus wouldn't hire the demoniac as a roadie, he put him to work as an advance man. Today, we have evidence that it paid off. The people at once recognized Jesus, and they rushed about that whole region and began to bring the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. And wherever he went, into villages or cities or farms, they laid the sick, and he healed them. This brings us to the point of commonality of the two parts of the lectionary today. In each of those parts, Jesus' rock star status was the result of two factors. There's the mighty healing power that he wields, and there's the good news of his coming, which spread like wildfire, started by the people he sent out. Today, we're in a time that is similarly afflicted to that one. Then and now, an international political elite captures most of the benefits of the world economy. The people suffer from pandemic mental and physical diseases that spread infection like wildfire. The whole of creation groans with suffering. Then and now there's good news. Help is on the way. Miraculous cures are occurring. Awareness of the need for justice and reconciliation is rising. It's a day for rejoicing. Jesus has good jobs for us all, and he is hiring. So what will you be? Healer? Teacher? roadie, or social influencer.